today, 12 Indigenous young people from Bendigo, Horsham, Ararat and Melbourne are travelling up to the Northern Territory for 6 days as part of the Indigenous Youth Leadership Academy program. The Academy is a partnership between Anglicare Victoria, the Bendigo District Aboriginal Cooperative, the Gulum Gulum Aboriginal Cooperative, the Long Walk and Northern Territory's Barulula. Probably said that wrong, sorry, Community Education Centre. It started back in 2014 when elders from the Gulum Gulum Co-op approached Anglicare Victoria asking to help address their concerns about low engagement with education amongst young people in the community and a lack of emerging next generation leaders. The Academy focuses on 4 guiding pillars, including culture, aspiration, education and leadership with the young people taking part. They do sessions in strengthening cultural identity, as well as education, study skills and leadership. I asked David Law, who is Anglicare Victoria's Community Develop Coordinator, to explain exactly how the program works.
Well, basically, the Academy has about 9 partners across the nation. It's a broad range of partners. It's from the Long Walk, Essendon Football Club, Anglicare Victoria, Federation University played a role, Opera Australia, the Australian National Academy of Music at ANAM, the Melbourne Victory Football Club. And so there's about 9 of them all together. The Long Walk, I haven't forget anyone out. But, so basically they come together for a year-long academy and they have 5 days in Melbourne in May where they all come together. These are young people identified by their communities and their elders as with real potential to strive forward and become leaders in the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander space going forward, yes.
Sounds like an amazing array of organisations there and very varied from sport to opera and in between.
Yeah, well, that's the trick. The 5 days in Melbourne, they visit all those organisations. Not only do they meet the elite components, and like whether it be a professional performer, a professional musician, or a professional sports person, we immerse them in those cultures, those workplace cultures, and to see if we can spark a passion and find their passion. And then we encourage them to build their academic journey from their passion. And just an example, Tennis Australia is a partner with us, and they'll be travelling with us with the National Tennis Ambassador, Mr. Ian Goolagong. He'll be with us. And basically, like Tennis Australia would have hundreds of staff that have all got tertiary qualifications. Opera Australia would be in the same boat. So you don't necessarily have to be a high-end performer. You know, we hopefully spark that interest in someone, and we hear about people's stories and their who work in these places to set aspiration for the young people. So they do that for 5 days. It's quite a full-on, it's really busy 5 days for them. Then we reconvene and we do we head to the Territory, and who'll be joining us this time will be Essendon. They'll be up there, and we'll be conducting a Q&A for them at the Fanny Bay Racecourse there, which will be fantastic. Michael Long, Ian Goolagong, Arnie Pam Pedersen, Raymond Viger, the leading Indigenous jockey in the Territory, and emceed by Larrakia Nation man Mr. Kim Mulholland. And so that's one thing, and it's a very strong cultural camp conducted by Aboriginal people for Aboriginal people, and they focus on cultural self and cultural individualism, and very important just to make sure that they use their strengths that have, allowed Aboriginal people to be on this world for 65,000 years plus into mainstream society, and we're really strong and on leadership and build their networks too. Joe would like to invest in the intangible. That sometimes we've got to measure lots of stuff here. We capture lots of information, but it's great that maybe those couple of young people will become leaders and their networks will build going forward. And we'd love to invest our resources and our energies in that as well.
Going up to the top end in particular, how important is that for Indigenous people from Victoria, I guess, that perhaps their communities are probably quite small and some of the culture has been lost?
Yeah, well, we should never lose sight that of all people's Aboriginality. There's been an issue in the past where organisations think they have to go to the top end to touch base with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australia. And our elders who advise us have been very, very strong on this, that there is Aboriginal people in Melbourne, and that's with a strong country, you know what I mean? And same as your region in Central Victoria through the Yorta Yorta people. It's very, very strong. And going to the top end is, once again, focusing back on that networking. They're meeting Aboriginal people from all over the southern sky, all over this country, and they really need to experience a cross range of cultures and to see how they can possibly connect back in their country. And, so that's why it's important that we do both. We have a southern experience, and obviously we have a northern experience as well.
So what happens when they come back from this trip to the top end?
So what happens is basically they've had a week, 5 days in May and then 5 days in November. Then they get to sit and pick where they would like to work. All our partners offer paid work. So they pick where they would like to work, and then we plug in the deal, and then they go off and we support them in Melbourne or wherever the organisation may be running, and we support them accommodation-wise and all that, and travel, and they take up paid work where they would like to work. Not work experience, paid work, some varying from a week through to 3 months.
And what sort of success have you had with this program, David? It's been running for a while?
They were piloted about 2014, and it's really evolved, and I'm really proud of how it's evolved. We had struggles, there's no doubt, in relation to the depth of the cultural aspect that we delivered, but the Aboriginal people have just rose up and really add some real body to that, which is it's culturally underpinned. We have 100% of our young people who have attended the program in last year's cohort are now 100% are still in school. The ones that have left school, 100% in full-time employment. And then we have 3 this year that are embarking on university tertiary degrees, which is magnificent, all of which are first in their family. And also, when the other part of the deal is once they've chosen where they would like to work, they go off, they may work at Opera, they may work at Tennis Australia, they may work at Racing Victoria, who is another strong partner of ours. Then they come back to their local communities. They'll form a youth advisory committee to the board, and it's our high aspiration that one of those young people will fill a board position back at their local communities as a full board member. Currently in Western Victoria, an organisation, there is nominations now for one of our last year's cohort who will be applying to be a full board member at 18 years old. That's what we want to do. We don't want to dilly-dally around the subtle nuances. Aboriginal people lead this, and so that's where we aim. So they get paid work, and then obviously a genuine board position we hope to be created,
What sort of changes do you see in the young people who are taking part?
We don't come in and out of their lives. We try and stay in, and that's an important thing. Once you've built that relationship, and trust is something that's earned, and it's not, it's not just a gift. And you see the trust that they get, and the network's improvement is, for the young people, is vast. Some of them can't believe that they're actually in this situation. And some of them have come from a very, very tough start in life, which is absolutely no fault of their own. Some of them have a percentage of about 50% would be in that category. And just to see them have confidence, one thing I really like is they have confidence with their own peers and their own age, but a significant number have confidence with elders, deeper community members, where an 18-year-old person can address a board, can stand up in front of 200 people and make a statement, And we also hear their words, not mine, their words about how proud they are of this resilient culture. And that's what we have to keep trying to work with them to achieve.
That's David Law. He's the Anglicare Victoria Community Development Coordinator, and clearly a passionate advocate of the Indigenous Youth Leadership Academy. Happy travels to everyone there involved who are heading off to the Northern Territory today. Sounds like a fantastic opportunity.